Hello class, welcome back. Today we are going to look at our 11th lesson. This is the topic of international trade. And the subtopic for today, we're going to look at balance of payments, disequilibrium. Now previously in our lesson, we looked at terms of trade, we looked at balance of trade, we looked at balance of payments, and we said balance of trade refers to the difference between the visible and the invisible exports and imports of a country. We said it can be positive or negative. It can be favorable, it can be unfavorable, or it can be at equilibrium. Then we looked at the various accounts that can be maintained when we have a balance of payment. Now we discussed one yesterday, that was balance of payment on current account, where we said this is an account that has the visible and invisible exports and imports. Then we have on one side, we have the payments and receipts on the other. So today we pick up from there and discuss balance of payments on capital account. Now, this is an account which records inflow of cash from other sources apart from trade. Now, these inflows may include loans and grants, whereas outflows may include loan repayments, donations, and grants to other countries. So here, class, we are saying apart from the normal business of buying and selling, apart from the normal business of export and import trade, we have cases where money comes into the country. We call this cash inflow, or money goes out of the country. We call that cash outflow. So money can come in the country in form of getting donations from other countries. We can get loans, we can get grants. Now, like during this time of COVID, we have received a lot of donations from outside the country. We received a donation from World Health Organization of around 7.4 billion. We received some donation from Jack Ma Foundation. We received some donations from UNFA. We received donations from AMREF and so on. Okay, that is cash inflows. Now, cash outflow is when we make a donation to another country. Like there's a crisis, or there's an emergency, there's been an accident, there's been famine in a country, then we donate to them. That is cash outflows. We borrowed loans from China, from African Development Bank, the World Bank, from International Monetary Fund, from the European Union, from everywhere else. When we repay those loans, that is cash outflows. We are not trading, but money is going out. Right? Grants. Some countries or organizations may give us a form of grants that are not loans. That is cash inflow. Or we can also do this. So all that is what constitutes balance of payments on capital account. Now, the difference between the cash inflow and the cash outflow is what we call balance of payment on capital account. What does that mean? It can be favorable if we have more inflows than the outflows. It can be at equilibrium when the inflow equals the outflow, or it can be unfavorable when we have more outflow and less inflow. As you can see in the diagram on the table here. So we have capital account, then we have the debit and credit side. So if you look at the payments, This refers to the cash outflow. So we record them on the debit side. This is like an expense. When you look at previous knowledge on ledgers in Form 3, when a business has expenses, when we spend money to pay for electricity, to pay for salaries and wages, water and so on, that is an expense, we record it on the debit side. Then revenue, any money that we receive, is usually recorded on the credit side. So you can see that capital account. Now the last account in balance of payment is what we call the official settlement account. And this is an account which is used to bring the balance of payment to equilibrium. So this is an account that tries to bring the two sides to equilibrium. Meaning, if the debit side was more, then we must find a way of balancing it out with the credit side. That is what we call the official settlement account. So the account summarizes all transactions that have taken place between a country and other countries. Now, having looked at balance of payment, favorable or unfavorable, we now look at balance of payments disequilibrium. Now, disequilibrium is the opposite of equilibrium, meaning the two sides are not equal. Either you have unfavorable or favorable case. So this refers to situations when the balance of payment is either favorable or favorable. What are the causes of this balance of payment disequilibrium? One, falling volume of exports. So when there's a decline in the volume of exports, it reduces the export earnings, which results in a deficit in the balance of payments. So this one becomes unfavorable. The exports are decreasing, meaning we get more money from exports than we spend on imports. So we have an unfavorable situation. That is one cause. Two, increase in the volume of imports. Now, when we import more, it means the country is spending a lot of their money to buy goods from outside the country. Alright? Now, it means it spends more than it earns, which again will lead to a deficit in the balance of payments. Number three, deterioration of the terms of trade. When the value of a country's import is higher compared to the value of export, earnings from international trade will reduce, resulting in a deficit in the balance of payments. Now, in our previous lesson, we said there are cases whereby, depending on the nature of the product the country is producing, if you have agricultural commodities, their value in the international market is lower than final or manufactured goods. So, a country that is only exporting agricultural commodities and importing manufactured commodities will obviously have a deficit in the balance of payments. I'll give you an example. Now, Kenya produces tea, alright? Kenya produces coffee. Now, most of these commodities, they are exported outside the country in their raw form, before manufacturing or before processing. So, when you sell a kilogram of tea leaves, right, that is the raw material for making tea. A kilo would cost maybe $1, right? Now, when that tea goes to UK, they process it, they refine it, and they sell it back to us. A kilogram of the same tea would cost us more than $6. See? That is why we have a difference between agricultural goods and manufactured goods. So we sold them agricultural commodity, which is cheaper. Then they sell as manufactured commodity, which is still cheap, but it is much more expensive. So when we have such deterioration terms, then we are going to have a favorable balance of payments. We also have trade restrictions by the trading partner. When a country's trading partner decides to take measures aimed at controlling its imports, the country's earnings from international trade will reduce, resulting in a disequilibrium in the balance of payment. They might put barriers to imports from your country. So you have a deficit in the balance of payment. The other cause is overvaluation of domestic currency. Now, when you overvalue your local currency, it makes imports cheaper than exports, which reduces the earnings from international trade, which leads to a deficit in the balance of payment. Now, we'll proceed in our second part of this lesson by looking at devaluation.